audience. Welcome to another session of a discussion or webinars organized by the corporate trainings of the Cambodia ASEAN International Institute. Usually, Cambodia ASEAN International Institute and also the corporate training department, we host multiple webinars on different subjects, and it's a pleasure today. We'll be hosting, discussing about another topics today, and today topics is data-driven marketing and using data to empower your digital marketing strategy. My name is Wisna, and I will be your host for today, just like usual, and for your information, CAMASEAN Corporate Training is very happy indeed to partner with Asia Pacific Institute of Digital Marketing, or APIDM, to make one of the premier professional digital marketing courses available to Cambodians. Today is a great pleasure for me and my team from CAMASEAN to have with us Mr. Adheesha, right? Mr. Adheesha Damakardi, all right? So Mr. Adheesha, he's the head of growth, or VP, specialized in leading the growth function for Coco Sri Lanka across traffic operation and overall growth of the brand and business by defining and executing the buyer lifecycle, marketing strategy, covering reach, acquisition, conversion, retention, and loyalty. So he is one of the well-known people, one of the well-known, if not the well-known people in this field we're talking today. So to begin our event, may I invite Mr. Adheesha? Is Adheesha correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. May I invite you, Mr. Adheesha, Head of Growth VP, to start your presentation, because I think I have some question I would like to ask, so I don't want to waste a lot of time today. So let's just go straight into the presentation. The stage is yours, Adheesha.
Sure. Thank you so much. Okay, so everyone, I hope you see my screen as well.
It's loading. Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay, perfect. So as Vishna explained, I'm Adheesha Dharmaketa. I'm a growth marketer for 9 years now. So I've worked in many places in customer lifecycle roles, digital marketing roles, and pretty much into data in all what I have been doing. And then my last stint was with Alibaba Group as head of growth for a fintech brand called Coco. So right now I'm on a journey of self-exploration. So what I meant to say was, so basically I'm trying to find myself in a more holistic manner, not just in my subject matter. So I'm taking a career break at the moment. So I just a few weeks ago I left my corporate job so that I can find my own endeavors and do some fun projects in terms of digital and in terms of other content creation work as well. So that's where I am right now. So without further ado, I will go straight to it. So today's topic that we are going to be discussing today is data-driven marketing in the digital age. So we'll be touching upon, we won't be going very much in detail in terms of how exactly this is done and all those stuff, but feel free to ask any questions. But this is like an overall of how you need to navigate data or use data in the current age that we are living in. So digital age is something that we always talk about, but this also called as the era of disruption, right? Not destruction, disruption, right? So I think by the name itself, you can understand very well. Disruption is all about rapid change, right? So in this era of rapid change, there's something very interesting that's happening around us as a result of these rapid changes that are happening in terms of technology. Right. So I'm going to show you a number. So see whether you can read this number first of all, right? So so this is 2.5 something. So 1 million, 1 trillion, all of these denominators. Is there anyone who can read this number? I'd like you all to just count the numbers of zeros here and then just give it a shot. I know I might not have returned answers, but still just try and see whether you can read the number before I say it out loud.
I think it's 2,500 quintillions, right?
Oh, that's a good one. Okay. It's 2.5 quintillion. You're very correct, Mr. So 2.5 quintillion is the amount of bytes that we generate per day, right? As the world, right? The world generates 2.5 quintillion bytes per day of data in just a given day, right? So that's the amount of data that we as humanity generate in today's world, right? So that's mega. So now let's do a small calculation, right? So you guys know the universe. So this is about 13 billion years old, from what I know, if the numbers are right, right? So now let's do a fun thing. So 13 billion years is roughly around this many days, right? Let's divide this 2.5 quintillion bytes by these number of days, and then you will get about 66.26 GB for one day that the universe has lived, right? So we are talking about the total data that we consume in a day. We divide by the number of days that the universe lived to arrive at how much of data that we can allocate per day of universe's life. So what does this mean, right? This means that we create enough data in a day to store a 720p CCTV footage from the Big Bang, that is the start of the universe, to the moment we speak, right? We can record a 720p CCTV footage from the day that the universe started until now, right? With the data that we are generating in a day. So we are generating this quantity every day. Just imagine how much of data that we are generating in that case, right? So, 4 days of data, if you put it together, you can have 4K footage of the 4K CCTV footage of the universe since the beginning of time, right? So that's the amount of data that we are generating in a day, right? So it's huge. So in this data swamp, right? In this data sea, for marketing, data is becoming important than ever before. Data is now very important to marketing than ever before, guys. So according to Forbes, um, if you are making data-driven decisions in businesses, right? Marketers actually believe that to become successful, you need to have data-driven strategies in a business, right? So to become successful, marketers nowadays have started to believe that you need to actually have data-driven strategies in business, not like before. So earlier it was about creative strategies, sometimes how you sell and stuff like that, right? In the sales era and all those previous marketing eras of marketing, the ideology was much more different. But now it's all about data. So people are actually thinking, okay, if I'm to be successful in my business, if I'm to make my business a success, I must have a data driven strategy into my business, right? Not just that, in terms of profit as well, this is very important, right? So according to a study that is conducted by McKinsey and Company, they say that the profitability of a data driven company is 6 times more when it comes to the counterpart, when you compare it with the companies that don't use that much of data. So which means it's not just that people believe that data driven strategy is important, but also with uh, tried and tested studies, it's understood that when you have a data driven strategy, you are 6 times more likely to be profitable compared to other companies. In terms of ROI as well, this is the same story. So this, according to Data and Marketing Association, which is called DMA. So they are saying that when you have a data-driven campaign, you are likely to generate 5 to 8 times more ROI. ROI is return on investment. You guys must be knowing 5 to 8 times return on investment compared to traditional approaches, right? This is huge, guys. So using data is just something that you need to do as a step. Data is already there. It's just that as a digital marketer, you just have to be skillful of how to use it. Sometimes we might see that we might not have the data analytics tools or whatever. But in terms of finding data, even if you don't have an analytics tool, still there are ways to find data, right? So which means this is right with you, right? To improve your campaigns 5 to 8 times, the power is right within you, right next to you. You just have to use it. So we'll explore today where to begin this journey, first of all, right? So to begin this journey, the first thing that you need to do is collect data. That data collection typically happens when you run digital marketing campaigns, and if you are a digital organization, this data collection automatically happens on a server side, right? So just because you collect data, it doesn't matter. So it's like this: you collect a lot of goodies, right? Just imagine you collect a lot of things that you like, right? Maybe tech gadgets and stuff like that, and you put everything in a room, right? No organizing, you just put everything in a room. The moment you want to find a particular item, it's really difficult, right? It's really difficult to find that item. So because of that, you need to organize those items. So it's just like that for data as well. Just because you collect it, it doesn't mean that it makes sense. You need to collect the data, and also you need to organize it so that you can retrieve it fast. So these two things are key. Collection sometimes automatically happens. Most of the organizations, in my opinion and in my practical experience, where they struggle mostly is in this organizing part, organizing them in a way that you can retrieve it when you need. And so we will now explore a few tools that you can use to do all of these things. So firstly, to collect data, I think you may have heard about analytics tools like Google Analytics, HubSpot, Hootsuite, and stuff like that, Sprout Social, and all that. So these tools actually help you to collect this data in a much more easier way. So data already exists. So it's not like these tools create data. They don't create data. They collect the data which is already on your website, on your app. So for example, on your website, when you have a Google Analytics tracking code built into it, what happens is this Google Analytics will be able to pull data about how people are using your website. Similarly, on your mobile app, if you are, let's say, having a tracking code from Firebase, then you can pull in all the usage data, usage patterns, and whatnot from the mobile app itself. So it's already there on the mobile app. It's a method of and then keeping in a format that you can read as a marketer, right? So what is effective data organization? So there's no point just collecting a lot of data and just keeping it. So you need to segment them. You need to segment them so that you can create some meaning out of it. For example, if you want to analyze the user behavior of Gen Z people who are coming to my website, I should be able to do that easily. So the moment you want to quickly analyze Gen Z, okay, you just click on Gen Z and then you start seeing what are their journeys, what they are doing, and all those stuff. And there's also something called tagging. So you will get a lot of data feed into it. You need to sort them into campaigns. That is where tagging comes in, right? You have to tag it to a campaign. So when you're running a campaign, you need to attribute it to a particular campaign. So if you are having 1 million visitors, you should be able to dissect and understand how each campaign is giving visitors, how many visitors are coming from each campaign, and how you also look at on a customer relationship point of view, right? Your good customers or the best customers, what is the experience that they're having versus your bad customers or non-starters, people who don't use your services, but they are just exploring still, how are they affected and stuff like that. So basically, data collection is basically taking all of that data into you, and organization is about how you dissect that data into a format that you can generate insight. So when you have data collection, you would know how many people are coming to your app. You would know how many people are going to a particular feature of your app and all of that information. But when you have organized data, you will be able to say Gen Z audience goes to this feature more. For example, Gen Z people, maybe are going to, let's take Wing as an example. They go to Wing Mall a lot. Gen Y audience, they go to money transfer more. So things like that. You will be able to segment and then say you will be able to interpret data, in other words, much more effective, right? That's what happens when you organize the data as well after you collect it. So these are so once you have that, right? Once you have this data collection and organizing sorted, the next thing that you need to actually do is you need to start looking at some key matrices, or we call it KPIs, to manage the digital marketing success. So these are only three uh, key KPIs that you can look at, key matrices that you can look at, but there's a lot more. Uh, so one is website traffic or app traffic. So when I say app traffic or website traffic, you should be able to identify how many in total and how many in those segments that you organized. Similarly, conversion rate. What is your conversion from a? I think someone has. Okay, thank
It's
you.
okay, Adheesha. Already muted
Yeah.
her. Yep.
Right. So when it comes to conversion rate, you should be able to know what is your overall conversion rate of the app from one page to another versus what would be your conversion rate for each of the other segments that you identified when you are organizing your dataset. Similarly, acquisition cost. I mentioned to you Gen Z customers, Gen Y customers, and so on and so forth. So overall customer acquisition cost you should be able to gauge versus you need to be able to understand what is your acquisition cost each segment. Why would you need that? Is because uh, imagine your customer acquisition cost suddenly goes high for some reason. You need to now find the reason, right? When you need to find the reason, customer acquisition function covers many segments. Then you can look at what has happened to the customer acquisition cost for each segment, right? After you look at that, you will be able to identify, okay, my Gen Z customer acquisition cost is good. Gen Y is doing bad. Then you can identify why. Then you can further explore into Gen Y, right? You can further explore into Gen Y. What are they using? What are they not using? And how many people are bouncing off and all that information. So that's the reason why you need to look at these. You have to collect data and organize. And then after that, you need to look at these matrices to start with. There are many other matrices you may come across. Return on ad spend, there is ROAs, and quite a lot more clicks to so many things you can do. There's something called CLV, customer lifecycle value. So that's basically the amount of transactions historically that a customer has done in a particular period. So all those matrices you are able to look at, and you should be able to look at in order to measure your success. So what to look at also is actually dependent on what is your objective right now. I'll tell you a good example. So this is a example of a fintech brand, financial technology brand that I work with. Not a very not Wing, definitely not Wing, because when I went to Wing, it's more. It was already in a mid to mid journey. Like they have actually started their journey and then come across quite a long way. But I'm talking about a startup that I work with. So this particular startup, when they started the journey, they were all about acquiring customers, right? Firstly, it was about reach. Firstly, it was about reach, not even acquiring customers. For about 2 to 3 weeks, it was all about reach. How many people gets to know about our brand, right? So they were going very much on reach. After a while, they realize, okay, reach is happening. Many people are knowing the brand now, but no one is downloading. We need to now focus on downloads. Okay, so then they went behind downloads. So it was about cost per install and stuff like that. Cost per install, how many installs did we get, where did we get the installs, and all that. Then we went behind registrations. We want so some people are registering, but not downloading, but not registering. So then we went behind looking at our customer registration. So Slowly, we started building our funnel. And then after they register, then we looked at 1 month activity. How many people download, register, and then there's a transaction as well, right? So little by little, you look at going deeper in the customer's journey. So as you proceed in this journey, the matrices that you measure also differ. So by the time we started, it was only awareness. 2-3 months down the line, it was awareness, installs, registrations, and then transactions, right? By the time that I was leaving the company, they were looking at something called customer lifecycle value as well. So that is how much revenue has they generated through time. They were looking at a KPI called customer churn as well. So retention was another KPI. We had something called a retention cohort. We look at how many people come in each month and how many people retain for the following months from the number of people who are coming, right? So that is retention related KPIs. So it depends. So starting from a very simple measurement, as you proceed, as you go forward, you expand your set of KPIs to be measured as well. Right. So why do we need to do this? Why do we need to actually harness this power of customer data? Why do you need to segment at all? It's because you need customer insights. When you have customer insights, when you know about your customer, when you know about your customer at a segment level, or better than that, at an individual level, which you can do, by the way, uh, then you can deliver personalized experiences, right? More you know about the customer, more you can personalize an experience. So it's as simple as this. Let's say you meet a friend, right? You have a friend. More you know about that friend, what they like, what they don't like, you are able to get the exact gift for their birthday, right? But let's say you don't know anything about your friend. You just know about people, right? You don't know about that particular friend, but you just know about people in general. In that case, what happens is you will think, okay, this is your friend is also people. So you generalize as people, and then you just give something that people like, right? But sometimes this particular friend of yours might not like that item. So it's the same thing. Customer is like your friend as well, your brand's friend, right? So you need to understand what they like, what they like about you, and what they don't like about you as well. So if you, for example, let's say a customer likes phone top up, right? Particular customer likes phone top up in your segment, and the whole rest of the customers, they are not very much into phone top up. They do it somewhere else, right? So in that case, if you do not promote phone top ups for this customer who likes phone top ups, you are losing an opportunity because they already like that interaction with you for some reason. So if you knew that, then you are able to promote it, and then you can make sure that this guy always comes and tops up their phones on your platform from time to time, right? So that understanding helps you to do a personalized experience based on what each customer likes, right? So why personalize? In terms of a stats perspective. So personalization is said to increase sales of a brand by 20%, and it also improves the customer loyalty. Why? Is because if someone knows about you and if someone gives you what you like, then you are likely to stay with that person. So it's just like human interactions. So in human interactions as well, you stay with friends who understand you. You stay with friends who know who knows what you like, what you don't like. So that builds intimacy, right? So this intimacy with a brand is also built on how much the brand knows about the customer, right? If the brand knows a lot about the customer, then the customer has a reason to come back, right? So personalization is very important. Also, on the other side, 74% of the customers are said to feel frustrated if the website content is not personalized. This is a study by Accenture which says this. So 74% of the customers are feeling frustrated. They feel like, okay, I mean, frustrated. So basically, like they don't like that experience. If the content that is on the website or the app is not personalized, right? So if it's just a blanket approach where the customer has to find what they want and seek what they like, then they don't like that experience at all. And on a communication perspective as well, according to Experian, it says that personalized emails, right, has a 6 times higher transaction rate compared to a generic email, right? So if it's a generic email, of course, which is sent out to everyone, it might mean something for some people, but it might not mean anything for many people, right? So it's very difficult, right? So if you get an email which makes sense for you, which is now, for example, if you are looking to buy a TV, if you are getting an email about a TV brand or a few TVs or whatever, then it makes sense. If you are looking to buy a TV and you get an advertisement which is talking about refrigerators, it doesn't make sense, right? I mean, it doesn't make sense for you. You just ignore. So personalization is very important. Right. So to personalize, I just explained you how to collect data and how to organize data. But you need to, after you do that, after you organize the data, you need to do two things. You need to look at two things. First of all, you need to look at the purchasing trends, right? What are these customers mostly purchasing? Analyze what they are purchasing, what they like, and when they like, the seasonality of them liking those items, and then what they like about each of these items and all those stuff. So this is basically around commerce, around what they are buying. Based on what they are buying, you can uh, generate insights to understand what they like. That's one. On the other side, you can look at their online behavior. So sometimes like all customers won't have a purchase history with you. You will not have purchase history for all customers with you. It's very acceptable because purchase history only happens when that person becomes a customer, right? So not everyone who comes to your app or website are customers yet. So there are people who are customers later. So in these guys, you can only look at the online behavior. You need to look at what they are browsing, what they are searching, right? Which pages they are going and engaging, what videos are they playing, what information are they getting. So if you have any other information about the customer, like through a social login or something like that, what information can you capture out of it? Interest, preferences, intent. So things like that. So two layers here we are saying. To understand a consumer, there are two layers. For ones who are firstly coming to your site and hasn't converted or hasn't done any transaction or made any purchase, you look at the online behavior. For people who have already made a transaction, you look at what they purchased and why they purchased and stuff like that to understand customer behavior. And you do this based on those segments that you look at, right? Based on the segments that you are interested in. If you suddenly see sales are dropping, you look at, okay, my sales are dropping. Let me dissect and look at what segments are purchasing well, what segments are not purchasing well, right? So then you look at the ones that are not purchasing well. What is the reason? How do you do that? You look at their online behavior, where they are going, what they are browsing, and stuff like that. So maybe we are promoting the wrong thing for them, right? So that's how you solve a problem using this data after you have the data sorted. Another thing that you need to look at. So I told you this segmentation, right? So this segmentation can be done in multiple ways. You can simply say Gen Y, Gen Z. That's that kind of a classification, which is based on the age. You can say male and female. You can If you wish to, you can also categorize by race, right? So these are all demographic variables. What are these demographic variables? These are any personal attributes which remain static throughout the life, right? So these are hard to change. So you can't change the age of a person. So the age of a person changes with time, right? If you are a Gen Z, you are a Gen Z, right? Even after like 10 years, if you look at it, you are still Gen Z because Gen Z is a classification based on your birth year, right? Gender, yeah, surgically you can change, but I mean, let's forget about those surgical procedures and just look at the usual methods. So if you, for an example, you can't change it rapidly, like you might, like if you are a male also and you want to become a female, you might do a surgical procedure and become a female once in your life. You will again not become a male after 10 years, after 5 years, right? That's a very static attribute. Even if you make that change after a while, still it's going to be static afterwards. Race, of course, it's also the same, right? Whatever the ethnicity or race that you are belonging to, that is static, right? So these are demographic variables which are static. It doesn't change much. But the magic actually happens not at this demography level. The magic is actually with the psychographic variables, right? So psychographic variables are uh, all about how people perceive the world, what they believe, what they don't believe, what are their attitudes towards things, right? And what influences them to shop and things like this. These change over time. For example, someone who is born in a strata where your economic levels are bad. Imagine he becomes successful in about 5-10 years by becoming an entrepreneur, right? Now he has a lot of money. Now earlier he was a person who didn't buy any luxury goods. He liked them always, but he didn't really buy those. But now, soon after he has the purchasing power, he buys those. So these are changing. You see, these things are changing. Psychographic variables can change over time very fast, right? They can change over time very fast. So I'll give you an example. So when I was growing up, when the smartphones came in, uh, I had a really big rigor to buy those smartphones, right? So I bought. So now, obviously, like I use smartphones, many people use smartphones. But have you seen that mobile phone companies are now coming up with feature phones, right? They are coming up with phones that has buttons, like the old school phones. Why? Have you ever thought why? Because there are some people, even though they are using a smartphone, they still miss that old technology, like me. Like for example, I don't have another use of another phone, but I actually would like to have a phone that has buttons as well, just for fun, right? So I have a little bit of a likingness towards these feature phones. So I sometimes even browse those. See how psychography changed. So I have it all in my smartphone. I have all the features in my smartphone, but I still have that urge to go and buy that. So when we were schooling, there was a little. Okay, so let's not talk about Sri Lanka. You must be knowing Scorpion, right? Scorpion. Scorpion. I don't know whether I pronounce it right. The sugar stick, right? Scorpion. So I was once um, taking a walk at the riverside, right, with a friend of mine who's a doctor, by the way, and then Cambodian. She's very well-to-do, and then um, she was showing me, around, and she was showing me, different, types of food and stuff like that. And she suddenly triggered Scorpion. Okay, she suddenly saw a Scorpion, and then, okay, I want to buy this. She went and bought it. She went and bought the Scorpion, right? Scorpion is not very expensive, you guys know, right? So it's not very expensive. You can just buy it for a very, very cheap price. But she went and bought it. Okay, now, here's what I'm trying to say. Demographically, this person belongs to a higher strata, socio-demographically. She's a doctor, well-to-do, drives a big car, a Lexus, and all of those stuff are there. So when you actually look at that persona, you might think, okay, this person might not go to Scorpion, go and buy Scorpion. She might go to somewhere. What is that place? Uh, there's a sugar. There's a place that I used to go at Eon Mall. To a place like that and buy some candy, which is a bit expensive. No, but psychographically, this person who's now even well-to-do is now looking and buying Scorpion. She really got triggered. That was very interesting for me to see as well. And I was thinking it's the same for me. You have this we call it muruk in Sri Lanka, right? Little snack, spicy snack. So we used to have that when we were schooling. It was very cheap back then. I can say it's about 5 cents US dollars back then. It was about 5 cents US dollars, but now it's not 5 cents anymore. It's about 20 cents in terms of USDs. Not even 20, it's about 30 cents now. So we used to eat them quite a lot. So even when I see that now, uh, like regardless of my socio-economic, status, I still go towards that because psychologically I like that. Like in my psychography, I like that product. I like that kind of pleasure, simple pleasures, right? So that also means like demographically, yes, we can categorize people, but psychographically, if we understand their inner desires, we can actually sell them more things. We can understand what they actually like and then promote that to them. Someone buys an iPhone. Why do they buy an iPhone? Most of the people buy an iPhone not because the iPhone is the greatest technological mobile, like the high-tech mobile phone that you can buy for that price. Your Samsung is much more better. A Xiaomi is much more better. Why do you buy an iPhone? Sure, I have an iPhone. That's the actual meaning. Right? So you might not be high strata. Still, you buy the iPhone because you want to show a different image. So understanding the psychography is very important, right? So this is actually very interesting when you go into understanding consumers, looking at data and understanding why they do what they do. It's a very interesting domain to be. So when you have these insights, so we spoke about three types of insights: customer overall, about the customer insights. So basically, who this customer is, kind of the demography and psychographic understanding. We spoke about the online purchase behavior and online browsing behavior. Right? We spoke about three types of insights. Right? So when you have these insights, what do? You are now able to target better because you know now this particular block, this particular demographic strata or the psychographic strata likes this particular feature of my product, right? You might know that my audience, this segment of my audience usually goes to these websites to consume videos or whatever. They go to this YouTube channel and stuff like that, right? So now you are able to target them better, right? You are able to position your ads better, right? And according to WordStream, it says that when you have better targeting, data-driven targeting, informed targeting, you are likely to have 2 to 3 times more click-through rate. Why do you have a higher click-through rate? Why would you click an ad in the first place, right? The reason why you are going to be clicking an ad is because you are interested in that particular ad, what you see in that ad. So if you target well, obviously you are targeting a group who would be more interested in your product, right? So if you target well using data, you understand that this group is more likely to buy my product, and then you target them. That means they are more likely interested, which means they are more likely to click, which means your click-through rate goes up. So that's how you optimize advertising with digital insights in a nutshell. So this exercise is not as simple as being said. It takes a lot of practice, patience, and how you look at data you need to practice. So the skills actually develop with constant practicing and understanding the customers, working with the customers, working with these ad platforms and stuff like that. So that is a skill that's going to be built with time. But nevertheless, this is the approach that we need to take. Right. Another big thing is social media. So social media is also a great indicator in terms of giving us insights. There are two things that we need to do. Sentiment analysis. Basically, this is to identify what is the sentiment, what they feel about your brand or your campaign. Right. So after you run a campaign, social media will give you certain signals about what people feel about that campaign. Right. So for this, you need to do sentiment analysis, which is, and social listening as well to a certain extent. So these are techniques in social media to identify what people feel about your brand or campaign at that point of time. Right. Also, another thing that you can do is, so this is to understand what they think. The other thing is to give your brand message through someone they are easily influenced with. This is influencer marketing. You find a KOL, key opinion leader in your society, you call it KOLs or influencers, and then you leverage your brand message, your business's message through that KOL. So what you try to do here, you are trying to leverage a greater brand exposure using an influencer who's on your platform, on your social platform. So here you need to identify who are the best suited influencers. So firstly, figure out what is your message, and then based on your understanding about the audience. So this is why you need to understand about the audience psychographically and also demographically, so that you identify an influencer who is coming from that same mindset. When you get an influencer, so you have heard a English proverb which says, "Birds of feather flock together," right? So which means people who are like-minded are always together. So if you want to talk to a particular persona, a person who's having a particular psychography and a demography, you need to have a person who is also living that same psychography and also the demography. So that's why you need to identify the right influencer to work with your brand in that case. Right. And the other thing is content marketing, which is going hand in hand with campaigns and everything. How do you use data to look at improving content marketing? So there are two things again that you can do. One is you can do keyword researches and identify what people are searching right now. So there are many tools that you can use. The Google Keyword Plan is there, Google Trends is there, then there's a tool called SEMrush. So where you can identify what keywords people are searching regarding the products that you have in your domain. And then what you can do is you can optimize your content with those keywords. So this is falling a little bit in the domain of SEO. And the other thing is content performance analysis. So when you have a particular content, you can look at click-through rates, average time that they spend on a page, whether they have shared on social media and stuff like that, so that you have an indication, okay, people like this content. And people, if you only like the content very much, you share it, right? If it relates to you very much, you share it. That's the reason why people share. So yes, as much as you do optimizations onto your content using keywords that people are searching for, you can also look at, after you do that, when they come and read your article, whether you are getting the exact result that you were desiring if it's not delivering that result, you can identify why. You can figure out, you can do further analysis and dissect and identify why. Other thing is embracing automation and AI-driven knowledge. So AI has become a very big topic nowadays, but AI and automation is a topic, are topics which were in the discussion for years now, for like I don't know 5-6 years. So I started working with marketing automation platforms in 2017, 18. So you guys know that most of the Asian countries have a little bit of a lag in terms of getting these kind of technologies as well. But now AI has become a huge topic ever since ChatGPT and Google Bard came into the market. So marketing automation is another thing that's quite interesting. So here you can use data to automate mundane tasks. So certain things, certain repetitive mundane tasks you can optimize or rather automate using technologies like HubSpot, Marketio. There's a tool called CleverTap, and there are many tools like that. Which
Hello, Adheesha. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Would you mind if we spend like because I got a question from our watch from our audience, right? So maybe you can finish up a little bit, and we can leave the remaining maybe 10
Sure.
minutes for some question. Is that okay by you?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I think
Okay, good.
I'm anyway almost at the end of the presentation. I just have 2-3 slides. I'll be done in a minute. Right. So as I mentioned, automation is helps you to improve the marketing efficiency, and AI-based personalization also now can be done to personalize products and stuff like that. For example, Amazon uses AI-powered personalization to recommend products for you. With all this, data privacy and ethical considerations are also there. You need to always comply with regulations and GDPR and stuff like that. And also you have to be transparent in terms of how you handle data, how you collect data and use data, where you store data and stuff like that with the customers, so that if someone is having a concern, they can always opt out from you collecting data. Okay, so let's look at a small case study before we wind up. This is about Netflix. So Netflix, the customer churn of Netflix is about 2.4% at the moment. So this is according to HubSpot. So which means if 100 people starts using Netflix, only 2.4% stop using it. Which means this is a platform which engages customers very well. So how they do is, it's basically based on their recommendation engine. So I have a small video. I don't think we have time to play that. So it's basically, so what they say is, you can actually browse it up about Netflix and how they use recommendations to improve their retention rates. So they use data of what you watch and understand what you like, and based on that, they recommend you content which you are likely to watch. Right? And then when you put a thumbs up, like after you watch, they realize that you like that content. If you finish a TV series, they realize that you like that content. So that's how Netflix understands what you like. So I always have this debate with my wife. So she sometimes uses my Netflix account to watch what she likes. So I have already created a profile for her, and I have asked her to only use that because it will then learn what she likes. If she also mix it with my profile, then I will get a twisted recommendation. So it's very important to have those two very you have to use your profiles very carefully. So then only Netflix will be able to understand what you like. So it's going on personalized. This is a great example of how data is being used for marketing in today's world. That's why I chose Netflix. So I won't play this video right now. So future of data-driven marketing, trends and predictions. Let me just bounce off two and then go to the final slides. So predictive analytics is something very important. So according to Gartner, by the end of this year, over 75% of organizations will be relying on AI and predictive analytics. So AI just came in, and now everyone is on AI, right? Everyone is trying to be on AI. So it's very big. Predictive analysis is basically before something happens, you predict this is going to happen. For example, if a user is about to stop using your app, predictive analytics can detect it. So there are tools to do this. And also AI-powered research insights. So according to Adobe, they say that 85% of customer interactions in 2025 by 2025 will be based on or powered by AI. So how do you implement a data-driven marketing strategy? This is my last slide. So as I mentioned, to sum up everything, you need to first collect relevant data using analytics tools and customer service. Step two, you need to analyze and interpret data and gain actionable insights. This is where you organizing data and then you understanding from customer insights, purchase behaviors, and online usage behaviors comes into play. After that, step three is about implementing these learnings or coming up with strategies to implement uh, optimizations, implement things that would help your marketing to grow. And step four is about continuously monitoring and optimizing these campaigns based on data and feedback that you receive after you run these implementations or strategies that you come up with in your step three, right? So that's all we have for today, guys. Sorry, we started a bit late. I think that's the reason why we had to rush the last few slides. Apologies for that. So, Mr. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask me now.
Thank you, Adheesha. Sure do. I got first of all, I got a question from our audience. I think he's been waiting to hear the answer from you. We've heard a lot from you, in terms of how to build a marketing strategy, using data driven. Now, this could be a repetitive answer or could be a refreshing one because he's making it simple and short. Now, and I think it address um, the majority of our audience's worries today. So the question is, um, what is, I would like to quote, all right, what is a good and easy way to build a digital marketing strategy for a small business like mine? All right. So I, I will simplify it in a way that I wish he would mean. So I believe the asker of the question is a small business owner, right? So they've got a lot of different type of strategy, all right? So just a short and quick answer to his question. What would be your recommendation, in terms of the correct or right marketing strategy for small business like this, please?
So that's a very good question. I think most of the businesses in the world are not like big scale businesses. There are so many small scale businesses. So just because you are small, it doesn't mean that you don't have access to data. So you can do very simple things. So when you run campaigns, so let's say you have assuming that you only have a social media page, then what you can do is you can look at the performance of the content that you do. So there's something called Facebook Insights. You can go into your Facebook account, Facebook Page Manager itself, and then you look at how your page is performing to start with, when people are active, and then you can also look at when your audience is mostly active. And then based on that, you can start by having your posting calendar during those times. You can look at the content that you post, and you look at the interactions that you have got. And then see what content got most interactions and what content did not get much interactions, and take learnings out of those. If you are also in the layer of running Facebook campaigns, Facebook ad campaigns, you can look at the ad performance. You can look at how much of how many clicks you are getting over the impressions that you are delivering. Sorry, the reach that you are getting, right? How many comments you are getting, how many interactions you are getting. If you are running a lead generation campaign, you can look at how many leads you are getting and stuff like that. So no matter you are big, no matter whether you are big or small, there's always use for data in such instances, like I mentioned. So I hope that explains your questions, answers your question.
Thank you, Adeshar. Now, I've actually got multiple questions coming, but given the time constraint, and I don't want to, my teams and myself don't want to disturb you more than we promised. All right, so I would like to wrap today a webinar up with a simple question. All right, I'm pretty sure that you, Adeshar, is a specialist in this area, right? In digital marketing. So, as a trainer specialized in this field, particular thing, what is your suggestion or advice, for new digital marketer who would like to master this field? Just a short, simple, minimalistic, advice and opinion for our young digital marketer out there, please.
Okay, so let me explain you in a more spiritual form. I think majority of Cambodians are Buddhists, so you know about cause and effect, right? Causality of things. So you do something, do something, and you get an effect because of what you did. So your actions determine the impact, right? So what we see when you are running a digital marketing campaigns are those impacts, right? So you see a lot of things that are happening. You need to identify what caused it. You need to go back and identify what is the cause in that. That cause identification is what data-driven digital marketing is all about, right? So you see something happening, your campaign is going down, ask why, and then trace why. So, like I mentioned, if your purchases are going low, identify why and which segment you are underperforming, and then you go back and see, identify what that segment is, and then you question again why. Why is this particular segment underperforming whereas other segments are performing? And then you again dig deep, identify the root cause. So, and then address that, and you will improve your outcome. So that's how you need to work in data-driven marketing. So that's the essence of it. So the foundations of becoming a data-driven marketer. So when I started my digital marketing journey, I was not very experienced in my experience in advertisement running. I was not very experienced in running advertisements and stuff like that. But what I had was this skill. This skill is what I used for good 2-3 years of the start of my career before I started learning platforms. So I would urge you all to inbuild this skill. Whenever you see a problem in digital marketing, try and identify what caused it and how to address it. How to address it, you might need a bit of digital marketing knowledge, and of course trainings like these, programs like the programs that we are running at APIDM will help you do that, to identify why something is happening. So to dig deep and identify the problem is a skill that you need to have, which you can practice without even zero digital marketing knowledge in my opinion.
Thank you very much, Adheesha. Okay, all right. So I think we're way exceeding the promised time. So thank you very much, Adheesha. I would love another half an hour for a few more questions, but like I told you, I understand you have a very tight schedule, and I don't want to take up more of your time than promised. So this is it. Thank you very much, Adheesha. It's a great conversation and it's a great webinar. I promise we'll have more in the future. Camazzians, the corporate training department, and myself, we will be organizing more and more of the kind of discussion and webinars online. So thank you very much, Adheesha. It's a Saturday morning. It's supposed to be your resting day, but instead you choose to share with us your times and your knowledge spreading around good things, right? So we can't thank you enough. So thank you very much, Adheesha, once again. All right, I hope to see you again later. So myself, Visna, and my team, Mr. Watana, and everybody else from the Corporate Training and Cambodia ASEAN International Institute and APIDM, we would like to thank everybody who are watching, and we will see you again later. Thank you very much for taking your time off. Have a great day, and I would like to sign off. Bye.
Everyone.
Bye bye.